Welcome to another episode of What's New in Beauty. My name is Nia Lee, and I'm super excited to have you guys here. So I'm going to jump straight in because this is a topic that's honestly been on my chest for a bit now. The news came out about a week ago, and I wanted to talk about it prior, but I got COVID, and so I'm diving into it today, all about Miss Olivia Rodrigo, Miss Driver's License, Grammy-award-winning superstar Olivia Rodrigo becoming the face of Glossier. And so this is really, really big news, particularly in the sense of I saw a few articles floating around, but the one that definitely struck for me was definitely the one from Business of Fashion, which was, can Olivia Rodrigo save Glossier? And if you aren't aware of Glossier, they're essentially I want to say this very minimal, I would say that girl, accentuate the natural beauty. They've got, the popular product that they have would be the, what's it called? I believe it's called the brow. I feel like if I am saying it completely wrong, I want to say it's Brow Wiz, but it's not. That's from Anastasia. Or if it's something in the brow category. Actually, let me go to her favorites because that's essentially what they were able to do. They were able to come together with Olivia Rodrigo to create a favorites kind of bundle. Something that we've been able to see before. Oh, Boy Brow. That's what I was trying to refer it back to. But essentially in her favorites, you get a Boy Brow, you get an Ultra Lip, you get a Pro Tip. And only, this looks about 3 or 4 products here. It's 3 products, but there's 4. Oh, I'm looking at something incorrectly. My bad. Boy Brow, Ultra Lip, and Pro Tip, which I believe is a eyeliner. Ultra Lip is a hydrating shine and lip color, and then of course Boy Brow is for the brows. Honestly, I kind of like it. The reason why I like it is because it came from an organic place. And the reason why I say this is because I believe it was last year that Olivia Rodrigo did one of those Vogue, when, celebrities go on Vogue and they, show their routines, and it's very intimate and it's very fun and it's very natural. And Olivia is one of those people that everybody just seems to gravitate towards her. So she actually revealed some new unreleased Glossier products, particularly in that Vogue interview. But then she also talked about some of the products that she really liked. And I remember at that time period as well too, Glossier got on it. They were showing it, they were making it their business to essentially say hey, Olivia Rodrigo, one of the biggest stars that came out last year, literally, who blew up, loves our products, and that became one of those things. And so do I think this is coming a little bit late in the sense of it's now April 2022 and now Glossier is looking to get this done? I mean, I'm sure there's paperwork. I'm sure there's all these type of things that need to come into play. But to me, going back to the Business of Fashion article, can Olivia Rodrigo save Glossier? And essentially what the article says is the new or the skincare brand never needed celebrity ambassadors before, but working with A-list celebrity singer may be the key to winning back Gen Z. And I think this is so interesting, particularly, and I'm also reading this off of Estee Laundry as well too. If you guys don't follow Estee Laundry, I highly suggest that you do, especially if you are into beauty, but then also the opportunity for a little bit of the whistle blown on certain things in the beauty industry. And Estee Laundry essentially does that on social media, and they do it in a way that essentially allows their community to come to their own conclusions. They'll say their piece, they'll share the news, but I love how they just kind of let their community, share their piece. And so even in the comment section, essentially, of this Instagram post where they posted this on their page, a lot of people are giving their 2 cents into it. And I'll get into those comments a little bit later. But I want to particularly also talk a little bit more about the collaboration and, of course, essentially how it came to be. So this Harper Bazaar article that I'm reading here is essentially, again, them embracing this Glossier new brand ambassador, a celebrity ambassador, again, which they've never done in the past. Because again, if you remember Glossier, or if you know about Glossier in any way, shape, or form, for a long time, they were able to really be that brand that everybody kind of wanted a piece of, because they were able to really bring this sense of, clean, but also natural, but also this feeling of, your features, but accentuated in a more like, I guess, I keep saying natural and so on and so forth, because that's essentially what it is. Like, one of the things that I've noticed, particularly on the marketing side of things as well, and something that I've preached, is that Glossier was definitely one of those brands that they allowed their community and their consumers and certain creators and influencers essentially be the reason as to why they popped off in the first place. Because a lot of Glossier's content, let's just say on social media, it's not super high fashion. It's not super photoshopped. Everything feels like it could be a real situation or not. And what I've even noticed as well too is that every time they'll launch a new product, at least recently, I've noticed this in, for the past couple of years, is that they will lean into influencers, creating videos on their iPhones and on TikTok, and really just allowing, regular people, essentially, normal regular people that are not celebrities or not big names, to be the reason as to why they do so well with their launches. And the reason why they're able to sell certain products is because they're showing real people in their campaigns. So to me, Glossier has always been that brand that has always been about, let's make people who aren't super duper famous, right, be the reason as to why we celebrate that, essentially. You know what I mean? Like, they're the type of brand that has been able to do that over and over and over again. I bought one Glossier product in my life, and I remember it was right around the time, I believe it was like a few years ago, maybe even 4 or 5 years ago. I have no idea. Time is going by crazy, but I bought the Brow Flick, which was one of the products that I think it was the first time they ever launched like a brow eyeliner type thing. And I remember buying it, kind of bought into the hype. It was about $30. I got it. I hated it. Like, right away. But at the time, I will say this, it's because I didn't know how to use a brow pen, and there wasn't anybody, like, I think I remember watching a couple reviews here and there, but it still wasn't clear as to how to get those like perfect brows. And prior to that, I had been using brow pencils. I had been using Dip Brow, Anastasia Beverly, Hills Dip Brow. I had also been using like brow pencils from NYX Cosmetics. So I was aware of how to use certain brow products. It was the first time I was ever using a brow eyeliner, and that was the first product that I ever bought from Glossier. I've never bought from Glossier after that. I got one of their free like cute bubble bags that I think, comes with, a lot of the times you can order for free. And that bag has honestly lasted me way longer than the Brow Flick, because I think my Brow Flick, I dried it out because I realized that when you have a brow eyeliner, you got to dry it out. But neither here nor there. I have always said to myself that I don't even really fit the Glossier aesthetic. And the reason why I bought the Brow Flick was, one, I like buying new products. But then at the time of that, I wanted to see if I could get this look, this Glossier look that really kind of shows that you're trying hard. You're not really going to try hard with your beauty because it's so natural and it's so authentically you. And a lot of the products, I'll even say this as well too, like, I think they started getting into complexion products a little bit later with like, powders and certain things like that. And it just never really appealed to me. It always felt like it was the type of brand that was for, the no makeup girlies and guys that really just kind of wanted, again, that look of, I'm not really, wearing a whole bunch of makeup, but I have a little something. And that was really never for me. And so, but regardless of that, it was obvious that I was, never the ideal customer for Glossier, but a lot of people were, and a lot of people are. There are a lot of people that stan Glossier, that love everything they put out. And so going back to this as well too, and I'll say this, even last year and the year prior to that, Glossier was in some hot water. Like, there was this whole conversation about Glossier essentially, really not being the brand that it once was. And I feel like this, Olivia Rodrigo news has definitely, kind of changed that altogether. But the pandemic for sure definitely changed how people were viewing Glossier. And even this article that I'm reading here from Refinery 29, What Went Wrong with Glossier, there was a lot of also like this conversation as well too of people just kind of side-eyeing Glossier because of certain things that they were doing in their business and how they were treating employees, and how things, were not up to par, you know what I mean, considering how much of a big brand that they were at the time. And so again, a lot of people looked at them as everything, they really kind of allowed people to really feel like you could have this minimal look, that you didn't have to go super duper hard with makeup. Because another thing I'll say to that as well too, Glossier was one of those brands that was all about, accentuate your natural features, don't overdo it, when all the other beauty brands that were out and that were killing it, like Tarte and Anastasia Beverly Hills and Becca Cosmetics, it was all about how much makeup can you cake on. And that was just what the time was. But Glossier was definitely one of those brands that essentially, cut through that and were allowed, and at the time as well too, as I'm naming those brands, was the only brand that was really kind of accentuating that minimal, no makeup look. But again, there was a lot of talks, particularly a couple years ago about Glossier being a very racist and toxic work environment. And a lot of people were actually, whistleblowing the truth about that particularly. And a lot of people were really, really sharing their stories and really being honest about everything that was going on. So there was talks of Glossier kind of being over and people saying, this company is toxic. This company is not as inclusive as they try to act. They're not as diverse as their campaigns are putting out. And there was also certain talks about just people not really messing with their products anymore because they were just basic products. They weren't really launching anything that was new and innovative. And they weren't really appealing to what the industry of beauty is now, where everything is very skincare focused. People want to know of different ingredients. People are looking into ingredients. People are looking into if your products are recyclable, are they sustainable? So Glossier was definitely not matching up to those particular things. So going into all of that, giving you all a little bit of backstory, this news of Olivia Rodrigo being the first celebrity ambassador for Glossier is interesting to me because it goes back to what we know of where beauty is now, where a celebrity launches a beauty brand or is a face of a brand or whatever it may be, and they're huge, everybody is going to flock to that brand or at least, get into what it is that they're doing. And I'll say this, Glossier definitely captured the millennials more so than Gen Z, because Gen Z, I will say currently right now, especially as somebody who's Gen Z, but I'll say this, I'm right at the cusp. I'm right at the cusp of millennials entering into Gen Z since I'm 95. But there are so many brands now that Gen Z is aware of that does what Glossier does, but 10 times better because their products are a lot more innovative. They're a lot more colorful. They are more skincare focused with better ingredients. And it's not just about this, looking minimal and no makeup. It's, are the products actually helping my skin? And I will say this, the products from Glossier weren't really doing that. There wasn't really anything innovative or anything, that was going to really change your skin drastically or so on and so forth, especially now because the beauty industry is so skincare focused. So Gen Z wasn't really up on Glossier like that or loving Glossier like that. Sure, you had some people obviously who are going to buy the brand and support it. But as a whole, when people think of what are the brands, particularly in beauty and skincare, that are really capturing Gen Z currently right now, a lot of it's indie brands. I'll even throw in Fenty in there as well. There are particular brands that really have, the industry on lock. But Glossier wasn't one of those brands. Glossier, I would say, really had millennials by a chokehold. Now, them partnering with Olivia Rodrigo is how they are interpreting that they are going to get the love and respect from Gen Z because Olivia is in that era and the kids love her. You know what I mean? They absolutely love her. They're buying her music. They're streaming her music. They're going to her concerts. They're recreating, her, music and, adding their own flair to it on TikTok. So to me, I'm looking at this as Glossier saying that this is going to be our Trojan horse. This is going to be our saving grace. This is how we're going to get people to be excited by allowing Olivia to be the first celebrity ambassador. And then on top of that, putting together this campaign, this quote unquote, you look good campaign, which essentially, when Olivia posted about it, racked up millions of views. It also was an opportunity for her to put together her favorite Glossier products. And to me, again, this is what they're thinking this is what they think is going to be our saving grace. You know what I mean? And I'll say this, I'm reading this again off Harper Bazaar. The CEO, Emily Weiss, shared in our initial launch blog post, we said Glossier is about living in and embracing the now, not the past, and not the future. It's about fun and freedom and being okay with yourself today. Olivia gets it. She is it. She reminds us all, you look good. And so I really think that Glossier thinks this is going to take them to the next stratosphere. Personally, I don't think this is going to do that especially because everybody is so inundated with celebrities. And I think we're getting to a point now where everyone's kind of tired of celebrities. You know what I mean? And I won't speak for y'all, but I'll speak for me. Even as I do this podcast and I come on here and I talk about celebrities, like, it gets annoying sometimes because it feels like it's the same story day in and day out. Everybody's doing the same stuff. Nobody's being innovative. Brands are making celebrities faces of brands as if, you know, they're going to change the trajectory of how this brand does certain things. And I'll say this, y'all can say I'm a bandwagoner or whatever the situation is. When Rihanna came out with Fenty Beauty, the entire industry was shook to the core and had no idea what to do, had no idea that the industry was going to really just take a 180, almost I want to even say 360, because Rihanna coming out with the 40 Shades, with the diverse marketing, the models that you wouldn't necessarily see, you know, her making household, you know, these essential models that we didn't know, household names, right? Ducky Thought, Slick Woods. Rihanna has been able to do something with Fenty that no brand in my time that I've been able to see beauty and so on and so forth. And I'll even say this, MAC Cosmetics has been around for decades. So I'm confused as to how Rihanna was able to come in. And I won't say this, huge megastar celebrity, but it's just something about Fenty who came in and really got the girlies together. And I don't think a lot of brands have been able to figure out what it is. And they've been trying. Like, these celebrity beauty brands that come out like every 5 seconds, these brands that make celebrities the face of their brands, create favorites, or brands collaborating with influencers to create, like, to me, it seems like so last minute and so behind. And instead of just making really innovative products, y'all just want to use celebrities and influencers to push your brand forward. Because in a way, sure, that works. But it just seems so tired. Like, it seems so tired. It seems so much like an afterthought. And to me, I think everybody is seeing through it. I'm seeing through it. You know, the average person is seeing through it. I'll go back to the comments here on Estee Laundry because they're saying, same deal. Can Olivia Rodrigo save flailing beauty brand Glossier? Right? And some person said here, well, here's an effing bright idea. Ship internationally, maybe. Crazy. I didn't even know Glossier didn't ship internationally. That's insane. But again, it's little things like this that I'm saying to myself, why are brands thinking that celebrities are going to be the saving grace of their brand when sure, it'll catch a cute lick. It'll be a nice press piece because this news of Olivia Rodrigo being the new face of Glossier is everywhere. It's on Harper Bazaar. It's on Vogue. It's on Teen Vogue. It's on Refinery 29. It's getting all the media clicks. And sure, a lot of people are loving it as well too. And I'll even say this, maybe there is an opportunity for a newer, younger crowd to fall in love with Glossier the same way millennials were able to fall in love with Glossier. But I don't think it's going to be a huge amount of people, because I'll also say this, there are a lot of people as well too. We're in an era where people sure love celebrities, but because we're in so much close proximity to them on social media, people are willing to just kind of see right through it or be very desensitized to it. Like, I remember when celebrities used to be revered, when people used to say, wow, that person was coming out with a perfume, or that person was coming out with a brand, or that person was going to be the face of so-and-so. And now, you know, we got to pay attention to it, or that's the only thing we got to pay attention to, right? Quiet as it's kept, Kylie Jenner, when she came out with her lip kits, took over the world, right? We can't escape that era. we can't escape, not acknowledge that influence. So to me, I also think we're in a time now where people are seeing right through it. And like I said, these comments here under Estee Laundry are really essentially telling me that, right? People are saying here, weren't there reports that they treated their employees horrible? Not even Olivia can save them from that, at least not from me. Somebody said, I haven't heard Glossier's name in quite a while. Then again, with the rate of new makeup brands emerging by the day, I'm not surprised. Like I said, people are getting desensitized. Some person said, I like some products, but the entire brand is giving basic, which I will say that is a Glossier's aesthetic. And at one point, that was an aesthetic that everybody loved. But now people, again, like I said, people are wanting different options. There's so much more options out there. Glossier doesn't have that type of clout that they once did. Because like I said, there are other brands that have come out since Glossier's inception that people love. And that, like I said, more innovative products, better ingredients for the skin, right? We're heavy on the skincare movement now, right? I have a girlfriend of mine who was just hitting me up. She was like, hey, I got to go, shout out to you, Chels. You're like, I got to go get all these skincare products now, right? Because everybody's talking skincare. We're in a different era. And so I'll say this as the last comment here because it is quite a long one. Ooh, there's actually two I want to mention. I'll say this. Somebody said, I've slowly been finding replacements for all my favorite Glossier products. There are plenty of other products that give the same effect, have better packaging, cheaper, larger size, etc. If Glossier wanted to keep a hold on the market, then they should have started innovating. See, told you. Or at least listen to their customer base years ago. Some of their recent product launches have flopped, and the limited edition launches are dumb. I've been reading comments on the crappy Generation G packaging since 2018. Guess what? The packaging still sucks in 2022. But hey, here's a tiny limited edition candle and some bath beads. Shade. And I'll say this, I literally been saying it, right? Everybody is in a state where we see right through these brands and these limited edition launches, your ability to not be able to innovate, your ability to not be able to change. And then on top of that, not listening to your customers. You know what I'll say to y'all? One of the brands that I love that I've never been a customer of, but I stan them heavy is Summer Fridays. Summer Fridays to me is a brand that gets it. They are one of these influencer-led brands that don't really feel influencer-led, but everybody loves them. They sell in Sephora. People go goo goo gaga crazy for every single product that they launch. Their marketing is immaculate. And most importantly, they're innovative and they listen. I will say this. I remember mentioning this on an episode of What's New in Beauty. They reformulated their jet lag mask, one of their most popular products. They sold out of it multiple times. People love the jet lag mask. Mind you, Summer Fridays is hella expensive, so I haven't been able to pull the trigger yet because I'm like, prices. But what I will say is they reformulated the mask because they had a lot of people giving them comments about the mask. And if you go to their comment section prior to them reformulating it, people would drop comments all the time because you never know if a brand's going to listen to your comment or so, right? But I'll say this, especially because I work in social media, brands see every single comment. They'll screenshot it. They'll put it in presentations. They'll allow that to be the driving force for how they're able to make changes. And Summer Fridays reformulated the mask based off of those comments, based off of DMs, based off of comments, based off on all of that. And they acknowledge that in their marketing of it. And I loved it. And it made more people buy jet lag mask. It made people get more excited about it because literally every single thing that every comment that came through, the fragrance, the fact that it made people's skin, irritated every now and again, they fixed that. They listened. And not a lot of brands listen. Not a lot of brands will be able to make that change, right? And to me, Glossier, from my understanding from these comments, is that they don't listen and they're not willing to acknowledge that, hey, we messed up, or hey, we understand that the landscape is changing, so we've got to change. And to me, people are seeing right through that and they're not into it. I'll say this last comment here because this is a pretty big one. This brand has screamed pretty privileged from the jump, seemingly willingly ignorant of what other consumers need, the whole skin first thing being their most irritating tactic. Whereas what they're actually selling is makeup and skincare for people who already perfect, as deemed by society, skin. Maybe if they came out with a full coverage, non-comedogenic foundation that allowed folks with acne and other skin concerns to achieve their brand's looks, they could have gotten more traction. Or if they created some actual efficacious skincare to address people's concerns, see, told you, it's almost like they didn't just ignore that being carefree is a privilege. They leaned into it and it bit them in the ass. I'll say this, and I've been saying it, Glossier has created this aesthetic and they've done a really good job at it. Because like I said, 5 years ago, people loved the Glossier aesthetic. People loved that clean girl look. They loved, that pretty privilege. You already have to. And that's the thing that I didn't like about Glossier. Now that I remember, as somebody who has acne prone skin, visibly, black, visibly have dark spots, have hyperpigmentation, a lot of Glossier's products never gave me the vibe that it was going to make me feel beautiful. Like I already had to have smooth, perfect skin to use their products. My brows had to be perfectly bushy. I had to, not have a lot of dark spots and not a lot of visible acne to use their foundations and certain things like that. And I think that's where we're at. We're at a time and place now where even embracing your imperfections is what people love. We're not looking to cover up every single dark spot. We're not looking to, feel bad about our acne. That whole perfect skin thing is not what people are really in, right? And I'll say this, that's how my brand, Oily Skincare, that's what we really try to push, is that you should embrace and take care of your skin, right? Skin health over skin perfection. Because having perfect skin doesn't mean that it's healthy, and having dark spots doesn't mean that you're ugly or anything, or it's not anything for you to be ashamed of, right? But brands like Glossier leaned into it. And now that I'm actually unpacking this even further, if you guys haven't seen the Abercrombie and Finch doc on Netflix, I highly suggest that you do. Because essentially what Glossier did in the beauty world is exactly what Abercrombie did in the fashion world, making it very specific and privileged to a particular type of person, this Ivy League, white, almost like privileged person, right? That's the archetype that Abercrombie had. And that's what the founder wanted to put out there into the marketing and put out there into the world, down to the employees that were working there. To me, that's what Glossier was also doing as well too. But they were also doing it under the guise of, we were getting into an era where being, that whole pretty privilege, only showing white models, only showing people with perfect skin, that wasn't the vibe. So they had to start, bringing more diversity onto their marketing, and they had to start doing certain things, but it was still giving a particular type of look. It was still giving a particular type of, you have to be this, or you're not going to be on Glossier's page, or you're not going to be in their marketing, or you're not going to be what, they don't want you, essentially using their products or marketing their products because you're not giving that Glossier look. And so all of that to say, I think this is so much bigger to me than just Olivia becoming the face. I mean, great for her, because this is the first time she's ever been the face of any sort of beauty brand. So obviously beauty reaches a lot more people. I'm sure music also does too, but the fact that she has this, favorites is cute. You know what I mean? Like, it's a cute little vibe. But to me, it just feels late, and it also feels like an afterthought, and it also feels like this is what Glossier thinks is going to be their saving grace, and personally, I don't feel like it's going to be, right? Exciting for Olivia, congrats to her, but at the same time, it just feels last minute, and it just feels like, who cares? And to me, looking at Estee Lauder, a lot of people are not here for it. Right? A lot of people are just kind of not feeling what's going on here. And to me as well too, again, just looking from the outside in, it just is not giving what it used to give. Right? And so all that to be said though, I'm really interested in learning more about how this partnership is going to go for the rest of 2022. Lord, COVID cough. I'm really interested to see how all of this decides to go for the rest of 2022, what this partnership looks like, particularly for Olivia. Are they going to come out with something more innovative? To me, I think they really did something with this. And to me, it just is giving a little bit too late. And it's also giving, and I'll also say this, Olivia is also that perfect that girl, minimal, no makeup, really talented, Grammy-award-winning. Like, she also gives off that particular aesthetic, right? Like, Glossier could have partnered with a lot of celebrities, right? A lot of celebrities love Glossier, but they partnered with Olivia for a particular reason. And I think it's still to propel and still to perpetuate that look that they want. And obviously, I'm not sitting here and saying that Glossier needs to abandon what they know tried and true, but I just feel like it's still in that same, pretty white girl, very palatable to everybody. And that's the look that that's what we want. That's what we're, essentially perpetuating. And it just so happens that she's one of the biggest stars on the planet right now. I don't know. I'll be really interested to see what you guys think about this one as well, too. Can Olivia Rodrigo save Glossier? Personally, I don't think so. I think there's so much more that needs to go into it. And it seems that a lot of people also have that same sentiment. But who knows? This could be an opportunity for them as well, too. I'll be interested to see who picks up these Olivia favorites. Again, these are favorites that a lot of people love from Glossier already. I mean, Boy Brow is probably one of their most popular products. So is it going to be anything different than Olivia deciding to put together this curated pack? I have no idea. But I'll be really interested to see what you guys have to say about this. But until next time, y'all, thank you so much for joining me for another episode of What's New in Beauty, and I'll catch you in the next one.